for me, for 5 years, he was the best defender in the world. Strong, athletic, great on the ball, and he was a ball leader. And I think for me, that was tease Craig Bellamy. Obviously, Craig Bellamy was really fast and probably one of the quickest, but not one time I ever saw Craig Bellamy go past Jonathan Woodgate. That's how good he was at training. And he always used to tease him, and Bellamy just obviously, as you can imagine, get very annoyed about it.
クレイグ・ベルディ、すごい速い選手でしたけど、ウォディゲルがいつも追いかけて、もうずっとちょっとバカにしてた。
In midfield, gosh, this is a hard one. There's so many midfield players that I play with. I will go for Gary Speed. I mean, God rest his soul, what a legend.
midfield はもちろんスピード、ガリスピード。
For me, it was so, as a young boy coming in, he was the epitome of what it was to be a professional footballer. Even before, everything that we're doing now, 20 years, 30 years on, he was doing back then. And he was an outlier. He understood what it was to put your body in the best position. And he always, the added bonus for us as young boys coming through, and sometimes the harsh word, he always had our back as young boys coming through. So for me, what a player. And what a profession.
Yeah, so we've just been at the latest fan event here at a rooftop beer garden. The club put it on for everyone. How did you find it?
I found it was great. Like, great locale. It's very hot, very toasty here in Australian terms, but big turnout. And obviously Peter Silverstone, Darren Eales were here again, so it was great seeing them in the flesh, and Shola obviously answering questions. The Q&A was very good, so it's very got a lot from it. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, this does feel like the ultimate away trip, this, doesn't it? The build up to it.
It does. Yeah, they've bigged it up pretty well, and they've delivered. Like, I got told that it was 6 weeks. They decided to make the tour, so they've done pretty well for the short notice, all considering. So having access to the players the other night, and then having access to obviously the two big wigs, Darren Eales and Peter Silverstone and Shola on this trip, it was great. And just popping up at different locales. We're on a rooftop in Tokyo. How good is this?
Unbelievable. And amazing news from back home as well. Newcastle have opened talks to sign Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace.
Oh.
If they can pull that off, that would be one hell of a deal.
It was unreal. I woke up to that news this morning, so I always check all the news every time I wake up. First thing I do is check Newcastle United news. So I saw Gahey news, the transfer news. I got instantly excited because I saw him in the World Cup, how good he was. So if that is happening, it's only good news for us.
Yeah, 100%. And just finally, I mean, there was a nice moment at the end there when there was a tribute to Tommy Cassidy, who passed away. Darren Eales raised a toast to him. That was quite an emotional moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really good to see. Like, obviously the big bosses, like obviously they've got that. They've got that in them, obviously, to pay their respects to people. Like, obviously that mean a lot to the club, or have got an association with the club. So yeah, that was really good to see that he did that, and obviously it was well received from the crowd.
Brilliant. Top stuff, thanks. Well, finally in the stadium. It is absolutely huge, this place. It was a lot of walking around to find the entry, but we got there in the end, and we even got a bottle of iced tea as well to go with it, so not too bad. Well, we are finally inside the stadium. It was some trek finding the entrance. It's a huge arena, this, the National Stadium in Tokyo, and I'll give you a quick pan around it before I do a little bit of a match preview. Let's just have a look around here. Can you tell me a bit about how you started supporting Newcastle United?
I can't speak English, I'm sorry.
Can you tell me why you like Newcastle?
Because because Newcastle is so many 何歴史なんだっけ
History.
So many history.
Big history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I support Newcastle.
What is who was your favourite player? Bruno.
Yes.
Yeah. He's captain tonight, so you see him play.
Yeah.
What's your when you said the history? When did you start? What year?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay. Do you think Newcastle can win something? Win a trophy
Yeah, of course, sure.
this season? Next season?
This season.
Okay. Wow. Just want to say good luck to Eddie Howe. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
Brilliant. Thank you. Just yeah. Are you from Tokyo?
Yes,
And what's your name, please?
and Kazu.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. What's your history with watching English football?
Yeah, I like Chelsea because I play game
Okay.
very strong. Jose Mourinho.
Okay. On the PlayStation or?
Yes.
And are you Newcastle when you're on the PlayStation?
A little.
Yeah. Yeah. And who's your favourite Newcastle player?
Yeah, Almiron.
Almiron. Okay.
Yes.
Big season for him ahead, hopefully. So, what's your prediction for the score today?
Pardon?
How do you think that the score will be today?
どういうこと?
Can you predict the score?
I don't know.
You don't
Sorry.
know. Hopefully, it's a good, entertaining game.
Yes.
Big family day out for you today.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you like supporting Newcastle?
I'm rooting for Newcastle for over 10 years.
Okay.
Yes, and Alan Sierra or yes, many players. Yes, and so I'm excited. So because Newcastle came to Japan and so play with Marinos. Yes.
Are you from Tokyo?
Yeah, Kanaga Prefecture, so near here.
Okay. Okay. Who's your favourite player?
Sorry?
Which is your favourite player for Newcastle?
So Anthony Gordon.
Oh, Gordon.
yes.
Okay. And what do you think of the job Eddie Howe's done? Good.
Yes.
Do you think they can win something next season?
Post office. Yes.
Possibility. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Cheers. Newcastle United trailing 1-0 here in Tokyo at half time. What's been an incredibly intense first half because of the heat and humidity here. Over 35 degrees at kick-off time, and Newcastle have not so much looked leggy, but I think they are feeling the effects of the conditions here. They've wasted some chances that maybe in the Premier League you could see Newcastle taking them. Harvey Barnes having a couple of real clear-cut opportunities, but not being able to even test the goalkeeper. Sean Longstaff had a decent chance as well. Bruno's looked lively, slipping people in a few times, having a couple of opportunities himself. And I think Lloyd Kelly has had a steady enough debut. I mean, the goal was the whole defence being undone, really, when Alba was allowed to tap home. Newcastle switched off a little bit just then. But look, I think overall Newcastle have created enough, but just that final sort of pass, that final finish, just hasn't been there so far. So let's see what the second half brings here at the Japan National Stadium in Tokyo. Newcastle United beaten 2-0 here in Tokyo in their second pre-season game here in Japan, and it always felt very early in the game that Newcastle were probably looking a little bit leggy. They were creating chances, but just that lack of sharpness where and when it was needed, and Newcastle also managed to fall behind in the game and went in at the break 1-0 down. So they were always going to have a mountain to climb in the second half, and made it doubly difficult by going 2-0 down, defensive mistake. And yeah, it was probably the lowest point of pre-season for Newcastle, but I think there's mitigating circumstances. The heat here has been stifling, the players have worked hard all week, and I think it was a reflection of that hard work, that Newcastle just didn't have enough in the tank really to have that sharpness in front of goal like we normally see in the Premier League. So beaten 2-0 here, far from the end of the world. This was a mid-table J-League team, but they were up for it, their fans were up for it, and it was always going to be a big test in this heat. So I think that's what the word will be downstairs when we speak to Eddie Howe. We just heard from Bruno doing a public address on the pitch as well, and he basically spoke about tiredness, and it wasn't Newcastle's best performance. I think we can all agree with him on that, but it's only a pre-season friendly. Newcastle have still got a couple of weeks left before the Premier League kicks off. Let's hope that that sharpness will return in slightly cooler temperatures back in the UK.
Alex, you're right for 2 minutes? No? 2 minutes?